Got a super special guest tonight. He's the master of shadow and light. Billy Buttery's returned, and we all get to learn how he made Shoresy look out of sight.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Thirsty Thursday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the produce stand. Podcast paying tribute to everything in the universe. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one is the only one Billy Buttery listens to, and that's in his own words. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is lovely Tanya, and online we have Squirrely Matt, the Vagabond Victor, and joining us tonight, he is a veteran of the Canadian film and television production. He's worked on notable films such as The Gate, National Lampoon's Senior Trip, and Jigsaw, but his television work is even more impressive with shows like Forever Knight, Relic Hunter, Slings and Arrows, The Kink in My Hair, The Listener, and Crack. But of course, we all know him as the director of photography on both Letterkenny and Shoresy. Please join me in making some noise for Billy Buttery.
Wondrous.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I regret nothing.
Welcome back to the produce stand, Billy.
Welcome. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Hey, no problem.
I mean, you said you would once Shoresy was all said and done, so you're true to your word. And I mean, speaking of Shoresy, you just came back from Sudbury after shooting season 12 of Letterkenny, so welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. I hear you went to Sudbury.
Yeah, we just missed you by a
just
day.
Missed you, apparently. Our timing was terrible.
Yeah, totally.
Although you would have been too busy anyways to look up from what you were doing to notice us.
Either that or he would have been, don't sit there. Don't touch that. What are you doing?
You wouldn't have gotten that close to me.
No.
Okay.
Your entourage would have stopped us, would they?
Oh no, there was a whole COVID thing. They would have stopped you with COVID. You know.
Oh, that makes sense.
Pretty protective of that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. We probably wouldn't have been able to record in the kitchen.
No.
Not, oh my God, we got shit for being in that studio without a mask one day. It was like, oh, okay. No.
So even this past September, they were that strict, eh?
If you were on the set, yes, you were expected to wear a KN95 mask.
Mm-hmm.
Period. In interiors, not exteriors, which is a change.
Sure.
But
okay. I mean, yeah, you don't want to jeopardize the whole shoot because somebody messed up, right?
No, I mean, we were tested 3 times a week, like we were in Toronto. So
yeah.
Still, they're still doing that, eh?
Still doing that. Still swab up the nose 3 times a week.
Oh,
Your
boy.
fave.
I don't think we felt any remnants of that at all when we were just in Sudbury in general, and even on these sets. Like we didn't even see a mask lying around anywhere, which was pretty impressive.
I did see one on the ground in the arena, but yeah, you're right. There was nobody there. The only people who were there greeting us were Kara and Craig. So yeah.
There you go.
Where are you off to next? Do you know what your next job is?
No. I'm just going with the flow here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to be out of Sudbury before winter hits.
I barely got out of Sudbury before winter hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Michelle posted some video of snow that hit there like a week later or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I was up there last December for when we shot Shoresy into season 1, and it was in November, and it was like snow, serious snow.
Jeez.
All right, so we can't ask you the obvious question because you won't know, or if you do know, you can't answer. But we're all waiting on pins and needles for the announcement of season 2 of Shoresy. It's got to be coming, right? It's got to be coming.
I gotta play dumb on that one.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. But anyway, so I know they know this already, but everyone's really excited and can't wait for that announcement to happen. So
yeah, I think it'll be great when they make it official.
Yeah. So the sooner the better. And season 12, the season 12 of Letterkenny, that kind of felt like it was out of the blue because when we were planning our trip up there, we had no clue what was happening. We were all summer long. We said, we're going to go in September. And then when I emailed the production company to say, hey, we're going to be up there, they're the ones who were like, oh, you should come out and visit us. So, and incidentally, it's a day after everyone leaves. So
that's why they rolled out the red carpet for us. Like, come do whatever you want. No one's here.
Oh, it was wonderful though.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, we had a great time. And hopefully I'll have a video of our shenanigans on YouTube sooner rather than later. I've just been too busy for, with work. But again, thank you for joining us. And if anyone wants to listen to our first interview with Billy, you should look back. I should have wrote down what episode that was. But anyway, look back in our archives and you can learn all about Billy's background in television and film. Tonight, he's back here because he promised he'd come back to talk about Shoresy. So that's what we're going to do predominantly tonight. So Billy, you said you just recently rewatched all of Shoresy. Was it in preparation for tonight?
A little bit, yeah. Well, was it because you said which tune do you like? And
right.
Because to me, it was all a bit of a blur when you filmed it.
Sure.
And then when we color corrected it, it was like you're so into the technical details, you don't really just stop and smell the roses.
Okay, so was this your first time watching the whole series then without the work lens on?
Probably, maybe the second time, but yeah, definitely. Like the first time I just really went at it, like just clean, just listened to it and watched it. Because I don't listen to dialogue on set. I'm the only guy that doesn't wear cans on set. I just don't concentrate on the visuals, not on the what
and that makes sense, right? With your work, you need you have to have your work mode, your focus mode, and that's where your eyes are, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
So last time you were on, you were telling us you couldn't wait until we watched Shoresy, and you told us it was going to be great.
Yeah.
And you were right. And I don't know if you've listened to any of our reviews and recaps of Shoresy, but even Victor loved it. So it was a smash hit with all of us. It was a really amazing. What Boo Spatcha? I said you loved it. What are you talking about? Anyway, so kudos.
It was your tone.
Kudos, Billy. It was really, really good. We loved it. Yeah.
It was a change of pace because Letterkenny, I started as an operator and then moved up to DOP. So, but Shoresy was my show.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was the rule going in from Kiso that, okay, it looks realistic and we do it right or we don't do it, because otherwise you're going to lose the listeners. The viewers in the first 5 minutes. It's got to be realistic. So that's what we really shot for, that realism, that, like the backstage, the corridor feels like the backstage, or like the corridor of a hockey rink. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the dressing room feels like you were in the real dressing room.
Yeah.
But it feels like a real dressing room.
It smelled like a real dressing room.
But it was so fascinating to be in the dressing room because even the walls, everything looks so real. You do make it look real. Like you if that was what you were looking to achieve, you absolutely nailed it. Like we were feeling the walls going.
Yeah, your set designers were amazing.
How does this it's just it all looks so real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea, right? And light it like a real dressing room. It's not like a beauty lighting. It's not like a fell at a GQ fashion shoot. It's like it's supposed to look like like a hockey arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I was most blown away. It's weird because it's the simplest set, but Nat's office.
Yeah.
I went right up close to what looks like cinder block and painted over like a million times, and everything down to like paint splotches. Because it's been painted over and over and over again after decades of repainting. It's all there, but it's just wood and plastic. There's plaster. I mean, there's no concrete. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, that's what they do, right?
Yeah,
that's the art of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they make the adequate bucks.
I mean, how long does it take to build a set? Like, so if you're coming in to shoot, I forget when Shoresy was. I feel like it was in March or something like that of last year.
Shoresy was we shot in November last year.
Oh, November. Oh, it was Letterkenny 10 and 11 that was in March.
Yeah.
But okay, so if shooting happens in November, how early are the set guys in there building those sets? Like a month before?
A month. It depends. You can do it less if you throw more people at it, right? But usually about a month before we get a hand to light it and pre-light it, which usually on that show like that happens like the same day or one day pre-light it and then you go at it, right?
Well, I imagine with especially with COVID and stuff like that, you're probably not all in the studio when that's all happening. You're coming in after it's all been built, right?
We'll appear while it's being built because we'll start doing surveys.
Okay.
So I will get sent plans, whatever, if it's a new set. But quite often we do see it while it's being built,
right?
And then we'll go in a few days before and look at it when it's done.
Do you have say in how it's built for lighting and for different sections that you need? Yeah.
Yeah, I love to see like that one wall is removable in the locker room so that I guess you can stick cameras there, right? Like,
yeah. Well, or that wall actually becomes the outside corridor in Nat's office.
yeah,
It's a dual purpose.
right.
Wall.
It's a transformer. It's amazing. Those guys are so talented, and I guess they don't get a lot of recognition. But how many of that are people who work on television and film, or versus like just regular contractors who are following? You know, like how many of those guys are artists, and how many of them are tradespeople?
Well, there's tradespeople in the film business, but
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think up north it's probably a little different than in Toronto, but I think generally at least your head person is from the business. They
Right.
understand the
Yeah.
set construction end of it, and not, you're not building a house that's going to last 300 years. It's
Sure.
because it's a film set.
Yeah.
It's one
Yeah.
by grease and blue and plaster.
Yeah, it's functional.
Functional.
It's
Walls-
pretty sturdy.
walls fly, but walls fly and things to make it accessible for cameras and things, right?
Do you have a
It's like you were filming in the, I guess, the kitchen set of Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole corner opens up. You probably didn't realize that the corner behind Wayne
Oh yeah.
hinges right open.
Oh, that makes
Oh,
sense.
cool.
So that you can have like shots facing the opposite way.
Facing Michelle.
Right.
Or,
right.
or the counter in front of Michelle, that whole
Mhm.
counterpart rolls right out of the stage, rolls right
Oh.
out of the way.
That's amazing.
Oh,
Didn't
no.
catch that.
No.
Yeah, well, that whole thing goes outside the wall. So just
We were too enthralled by the empty cupboards.
Yeah. What cupboards? There were no cupboards. It was just you open the door and it's like flat. It was wood.
Hey, at least they didn't forget food in the freezer.
We checked just to make sure
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
didn't leave
Oh,
anything
thank God.
behind.
You're gutsy to check a fridge on the set.
Although we do
They
have
forget things in it.
we have Wayne's pot roast recipe
yeah.
that was
Yes.
on the fridge. Yeah,
We were
we're gonna
warned
give
not
that
to
a
try that recipe.
Oh no, I still think we need to make it. Just validate the this recipe.
Billy, do you have like a preference to whether you are working off of a set or whether you're working on location, because originally it was all in, the Skid's basement or it was at the farmhouse, and now you have the sets for it. So what is there a preference from one, or do you, do you enjoy working in one place over the other?
I think the flexibility of a set is a big advantage because you can put things over the top. You can fly walls. You can, you have control of it. With the actual building, which you don't always have the ability to build, it costs too much to build as opposed to just renting it for a couple of days. But I do like a set better.
Yeah.
More flexibility and more, for sure.
More flexibility, especially if you're going to the same place over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Now,
And I was saying when we were there, like when we got in the arena, and of course they turned on the house lights to let us see it, and then I put it together like that's not how you would do this. Those lights would all go off, and your
they
lights
go
would
off.
come on.
Yeah,
I would love to have
buzzing
been
sound.
in that room during a set light, like when everything else is off and you've taken control. I bet it's a very different experience in that space.
It's a different experience. The arena lights are only on for lunchtime, or before work. Once my lights go on, that's like kill the house. I think all that crap goes off.
I guess everybody has to go dead silent too, because that would just echo or transfer into the space.
Oh yeah, those microphones too picks up a fly fart. I mean, you got.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's
So cool.
good.
I would love to see like a video of behind the scenes on how it's made, because it's so amazing. It was incredible just to be in that set.
Yeah, it was impressive. That was impressive work. So you're here to answer some questions from us, but also some of our listeners have submitted a few questions. Now, obviously answer what you can, and I'll try not to ask anything I don't think you can answer. But here we go. Our first one is from our buddy Adrian. Very different and unique look between the two shows. Was there any sort of direction from Kiso on direction or feel of what he wanted for Shoresy? You kind of mentioned it a bit more, like you already said, more realism. But what specifically? Like I felt like there was a different color palette on the two shows, like more greens and reds in Letterkenny and more blue in Shoresy. Is that like the kind of stuff you guys look for?
A little bit. I think the art direction is definitely different. I think the Shoresy needed to feel a little cooler, a little bluer because of the nature of the beast. It's more of an ice show.
Okay.
So it kind of led it that way. But yeah, just think it's a combination of the art direction and the director and the photography that makes it look. I know what you're saying. Shoresy has a different look. I wanted to make sure that it did not look like Letterkenny 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it just couldn't look the same. It just couldn't, or it wouldn't work. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and what was great, what I would say is you could 100% tell that it was by the creators of Letterkenny, but by no means was it Letterkenny. And it had a completely different feel, look, everything. And congratulations on it, by the way. It really, I rewatched the whole thing again over the last few days, and I just fucking love it. Like it's so much fun to watch. And I love some of the different things you did. Like from your perspective, did you have any because there's a lot more creativity in this than there was from what I could see from the shot selection. Did you have any favorite scenes or shots that you executed that you're like, that was just a real fun one to do? That to what you remember?
I don't know. I love the exterior Sudbury Arena stuff with Laurence Leboeuf. It was always really funny. It was just beautiful. It was just cool, and that was a lot of fun doing that. And we did it for a minimalist. Like literally, it's like 3 lights.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. The whole thing was a lot of fun. It was just a different experience, you know. I remember Kiesel saying in his apartment set, which was a real apartment, because they want to build a set for one show,
right?
And he was like, well, it's great, it looks like a sitcom. And I'm like, great sitcom set. He says, well, I'll fix that. So he's like, what? My whole thing is that it can't look like it's funny, it's comedy, but it can't look like a sitcom. It's got to look realistic, right?
Yeah.
On the live stream, Casey's asking, someone ask him about slow-mo, please. I can't believe I forgot that. Okay, so slow motion. I mean, it's used a lot in Letterkenny. It's used even more, I feel, like in Shoresy. You'd mentioned before, like you use a different speed film and all that kind of stuff for the slow motion shots. So are you just constantly shooting with slow motion in mind, or is it still in the script before you guys shoot it?
It's usually in the script for certain types of scenes. That would go 60 frames a second and just slow it down, for a little bit, There is a couple 100 frames per second shots, I think, in Shoresy, but I think it's generally 60 frames a second, just slow it down.
Yeah.
And was the Michael scene shot in 60 frames per second?
What the penis?
Yes.
How does everyone keep it together when that's happening?
Well, it's obviously a closed set,
That's funny. Let's see. We have a question here from Mike Benelli for Billy. Oh yeah. So this is for you, Billy, obviously. And now that we've peeked behind the curtain, courtesy of Al and the gang, what's the hardest set to light and which is the easiest? Okay. That's a good question. Of the sets in the studio there.
In Shoresy?
Mm-hmm. Or, well, in general, the ones that are in the studio, because we kind of showed everyone the kitchen, the Skid's basement, Nat's office, and the locker room. Which one of those is the hardest to light?
It depends on the type of scene, how much people move around. I mean, that's, the whole same old story, right?
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, the Skids is kind of fun because you get to play with stuff and you're all over the place. Because every time you go in there, it's dressed different, or you dress for a scene, or you the chairs move here. Okay, let's put the chair over there.
Right.
So it's a constantly evolving scene. So it's kind of fun. I don't know if one's easier than the other.
Okay, we'll take it outside then. I mean, daytime, nighttime, snow, no snow. What
underwater watching, deuces floating by.
Sega Beach, yeah. I don't know. I think they're all. I like nighttime a lot. I mean, all my years of lighting night, I like the nighttime stuff in Shoresy, and you'll see, some more of it in Letterkenny. But I think that the nighttime is kind of a challenge. It's fun for me. The daytime is kind of more, you're getting screwed by the clouds and the sun. It's more of a, it's more of a what is it going to happen today? Kind of thing.
It was more apparent, especially in when we were at the farm, and we opened the tractor shed, and just the difference between being outside and inside, how dark it is. Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I thought. We were like, I wonder how he lights this. Because when Wayne's standing up top, like even we tried to take a photo and you could barely see Al. I'm like, they had to have some big lights inside that barn or whatever it was, or the hangar, to get him lit up so that you could then get the contrast right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, to get the ratios right. And it all depended if it was morning, so with the barn's front lit, which is a nightmare, or if it's, the barn's back lit in the afternoon, and then it's a little easier because you just got to light up the inside, not to the same level as the outside, and not compete with the sun, right?
It's still mind-boggling to me how you hide all of that in the camera shot.
Yeah, that's the art, right?
That's the art of it. There's the magic.
Oh, and we're talking about some of your most difficult shots to do. One comes to mind in Shoresy, was that really high up shot in the arena when
the wide one,
the really wide one. It stays that wide for a long time, where Shoresy is taunting the captain from the other team to come at him. I mean, that's we talk about all the unique shots you guys do on Letterkenny, and sure, that one there is I feel like it's kind of brave to have one that long, that wide. Like, so many things could go wrong, right? Like, first of all, how do you set that up that high up?
Well, we actually went up in the press booth, which we surveyed like weeks before. And put, like, if you look at the cut of the shot with the Jonathan Torrance and Jacob Turney playing sportscasters in the booth, you'll notice there's a camera behind them on a tripod, but that's supposed to be that camera.
Oh, okay.
But it is actually up in the rafters in the video booth where they send the wolf across, on the, and depending what side of the arena you're on, you see the wolf's ass go over your head,
So are you up there that high with the camera then?
I go up to set it up, but I'm at the monitors. I mean, I tell them where I want it, but I don't stay there with the camera. I'm down at the monitors, which is down at ice level with Jacob,
And it was something like that. Is there any additional special lighting going in that? Or are you mainly relying on the house lights for something like of that size?
Oh, I did a little something with the arena. Yeah.
16,000
watts of power later.
Shut down all Sudbury to light that one, eh?
Yeah, where does that light come from? Just beside the orchestra, just off camera. But it is basically lit, but I do supplement. Yes, absolutely.
It's a great shot. It's a very memorable shot for sure.
It was very moving. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We have a question here from Tobias, and he's wondering if you've heard from Kaylani Rose and you have any updates on her conditioner.
Last time I heard, she's doing well. I haven't talked to her personally.
Right.
I know people who have, and she's doing well, and she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like, she really is such a sweetheart of a girl. And so I hear she's doing well, and
that's good. I've seen she's posted a bunch of videos on her Instagram, and it looks like she's well on her way to full recovery. And yeah.
Oh, thank God.
It shows a life short, right? Enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Idiot's gonna try to shoot you.
Quickly on the note, I'm going to spin off that one a bit. Everyone we've talked to from Letterkenny, including yourself, there was such a close, tight-knit, almost family environment amongst cast and crew. Did that same vibe transfer into Shoresy with a brand new cast and maybe some new crew? I don't know if you guys used all the same people, but was there that same sense of real commitment and love from everyone that came out to make it?
Absolutely. It's still the same thing. It's a family. It's it's a different set of actors, as you said, which is it's a whole new group of people, but a lot of the crew is the same.
Okay.
So a lot of us have previous, judgments, and then, back together. It's an all new cast, but it all carried on the same.
Yeah, that's great.
I feel like I could be wrong because, we started covering Letterkenny later, but I feel like there are many more amateur actors on the Shoresy cast than there were on the Letterkenny cast. First of all, am I right on saying that, or were there like?
I don't know, amateur actors. I mean,
people who are predominantly hockey players before they're actors, and maybe this might be their first time acting, or you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Well, you can teach someone to act, but you can't teach someone to play hockey.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. I understand.
Yeah. With hockey shows, right? Is that they get
love that,
actor, and then he fucking looks terrible when you skate, and then it's like that's not believable at all. So I mean, you can teach someone, you can do more takes and work on their acting a little bit if they got but you can't teach 20 years of hockey skills.
Absolutely. You're right.
Fantastic answer.
Yeah. It's the perfect answer. And that kind of leads me to one of the other scenes that still stick out in my head. And that's during, I forget who they're playing, but they plan out a play, and then you show it, and the way you show the play happening was exactly the way it was like laid out in the plan. But I just loved the way you guys showed it. Like, I've seen a lot of hockey movies, and usually it's just chaos on ice, really quick cuts, because hockey's such a weird sport to shoot. But you guys showed that play perfectly, like from the saucer pass to JJ getting it at the blue line, and it was just really well done. Like, first of all, how long does something like that take? Is that one day, or is that a few days? And
that scene where he flips the puck and Frankie JJ skates into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's half an hour.
What?
Work.
Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
Really?
That's not a tough scene.
No, it seemed like
right.
It felt like there were so many like things that could have gone wrong, and I guess that's where, you know, if you have hockey players,
stepping in the puck and catching on skates was like 3 takes.
No, but the whole like, okay, winning the face-off back, then there's a bunch of stuff that happened in between.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we at the most an hour.
Really?
Okay. Well, you just doubled his quote. There you go.
Still, I mean, that's impressive, and I'm wondering if you know, I think of like Mighty Ducks movies or whatever, or Miracle on Ice, or that Alaska hockey movie or whatever, whether they had, you know, some of those shots, how long they took.
Those aren't hockey movies. Youngblood is a hockey movie.
But you know what I'm saying, Victor, though, like some of those movies where they're trying to represent hockey,
I know.
or the frenetic pace of hockey, and all they're doing is cut after cut after cut, and you don't really see what's happening, right? Whereas that shot there, I thought, did a really good job of showing everything that was laid out. You know what I mean?
It tells the story. That's what it comes down to, right? Telling the story.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Now I think
no one's ever going to be a puck.
Mhm.
So forget about being the puck's angle, you know, and it's like, just tell the story.
Yeah.
And now I think we're getting, like, you're right. A lot of things they almost get too close to the action.
Yeah.
It just becomes absolute chaos. And maybe that's what they're trying to sell in those moments,
Mhm.
right? Whereas you kept the right distance so that we could still follow along with what was happening.
Or it's the difference between having actors or hockey players.
There you go too.
Exactly.
So they're where
Not trying to make up for the fact they can't really play hockey.
what's his name?
So-
Was it Jamie Foxx who played Ray Charles? He could do it, and they could show him playing the piano because he knew how to play the piano, as opposed to cutting away from somebody's hands and showing the actor back and forth or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so on that, on the hockey scenes, how much shooting happened versus the guys just messing around on the ice and Kiso trying to get one past Terry Ryan? Like,
No, they were pretty disciplined. And when it came down to the hockey stuff, a lot of it was choreographed by the stunt coordinator, Dan Skeen. But he would have certain ideas for certain plays. But, you know, and then Kiso was on the ice a lot too, because he played Shoresy, obviously.
Right.
yeah.
But no, they're pretty disciplined. They know that you can't screw around with the puck. Like, I took a puck in the foot of Dolo. Me hit in the foot with the puck, and he felt so bad about it. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. But he's like, oh, yeah, buy you beer. So went to a Sudbury Wolves game. He bought me beer. But,
Nice. Yeah.
but no, there's a general rule of shooting hockey, because they did power play too and stuff. You can't let people shoot pucks out. You don't have a bucket of pucks on the ice, because they're never going to start taking slap shots, and someone's going to wear one.
Yeah, you don't want that. It's too tempting, right?
It's too tempting.
So you keep the pucks away from the players.
Exactly.
So did you know going into Shoresy how you wanted that to look? Having the experience once already with or I don't know what your experience is with hockey and shooting those scenes, but did you kind of have a feel already for how you wanted those to look, or is that something that was requested, you know, through Kiso?
No, and it's a lot of us. It's Jacob Turney. Like, we're just discussing in the surveys how we want things to look. You know, like we co-opt. You know, what the style should be. You know, like we had meetings, and that's why I do prep and surveys. But generally, a lot of it happens on the day. But I think we're pretty much on the same page how things should look. So type of shot. So it's not really, you know.
All right, we have a question here from another one from Tobias. Sudbury, the city, is essentially a character in Shoresy. In what ways? In ways that it isn't in Letterkenny, because Letterkenny obviously doesn't take place in Shoresy or in Sudbury. Why did the shift occur, and how does that change staging of the shots or scenes? So, I guess what he's getting at, because Shoresy takes place in Sudbury, you can openly say, hey, we're shooting Sudbury. This is Sudbury. As opposed to Letterkenny, you had to be kind of like dodgy about shooting something and it's not obviously Sudbury, right?
Yeah, totally. You had to be more, it's a more of a rural show and they would go into the big city, you know, to do some things, you know.
Yeah, well, and being like
Sudbury, it's like in Sudbury, you know, like the people, the architecture, you know, like the whole feel of the town, which I love. I love Sudbury, you know, it's a fun place.
Yeah, that was my first time up there, and it's an interesting place with a lot of character for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Character and characters.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we definitely
visit the town you're in too, right?
Yeah. Well, we went and visited some of the original locations from like the early seasons of Letterkenny, like the convenience store and stuff like that, and they've definitely seen better days, probably since when you guys originally shot. So
yeah, no, absolutely. We don't even go to that store anymore.
Well, they've painted the wall. It's now gray.
No, I know that. Yeah, but the whole bar beside it, you know, is
shut down. It's kind of, it's in disrepair.
Special spot.
Yeah, it's a very special spot with some special characters.
Some interesting patrons.
We felt a little unsafe when we were over there, but it's still cool to see.
Yeah, right on.
And it's weird because there's like 3 distinct sets in that one parking lot, really. Because you have the where all the skids did all their dancing, then you turn around and there's the back of Modine's where they come out and Wayne first has his
Modine's one, the bar.
Yeah, exactly. And then the front of Modine's, and then across the street's the corner house where
the corner building.
Yeah, it's all very cool. Yeah. It's quite the neighborhood.
Now, they got a good taco place nearby too.
Yeah, totally.
So this next question might be a little unfair, but I'm interested to find out what your answer is to this. Can you Billy, you can only do one, Letterkenny or Shoresy. Which one?
Oh, that's not fair.
Can I do one? That's not really fair, but
that's not fair.
You don't have to answer.
Shoresy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's new, right? It's exciting. It's
fun. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And it's my baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you're DP from the beginning.
Day one. Yeah.
All right. You know what? I think that's a good answer. I don't think you're disparaging Letterkenny by answering that one.
No. I love Letterkenny.
Yeah.
It's like my wife calls them when I go up north. It's like, you're going up to camp again. Summer camp. No.
Exactly.
Summer camp.
But people have known forever. Like since 2015, we started shooting it. So I've known these people, these actors, since watching them grow up. Yeah. Really.
Wow.
Absolutely. I guess you have it because it's been since 2015, 2016, something like that.
Yeah. Started filming.
Yeah. And a lot of these actors are young. So they would have been really young when you started.
They were really young when they started. They all have like wives and girlfriends, fiancés and kids, and you know.
Yeah. They all grown up now.
8 years or 7, you know, it was 7 filming, but 1 year off because of COVID, right?
Yeah. Letterkenny answers wants to know what your favorite scene that you've shot and the most difficult scene that you shot. Let's stick to Shoresy. Can you think of? Yeah.
The most difficult scene?
Yeah. Like challenging, I don't know, technically challenging or visually challenging.
That's a tricky one. I don't know if anything's really challenging. More challenging than the other things, I should say. His apartment was interesting.
Yeah.
Shoresy's apartment.
Oh, because it'd be pretty small. If it's a real apartment, it'd be pretty small.
It's a real apartment. It was interesting to shoot because of, you know, the light level shift outside between inside was like, wow, you know, it's huge. I don't know if there's really, I mean, more night stuff on Shoresy, which is always fun. But I don't know if anything's really more harder. It's just different. I mean, at this point in my career, nothing's really harder.
Right.
It's just like, if you want to do it in this amount of time, it requires this. You know what I mean? Or I need a lifter and extra guys here when you do on the surveys. So you just kind of figure it out.
What about the final shot and the final episode? Did you have to kind of shut the whole street down, or?
We shut the whole street down. Yeah. And it was snowing, like beautiful. And then the snow was coming down, and it was like, hey, you can't buy this.
I was going to say, how did you plan that, or was it by like did you see it snow so quickly? Let's go set up like.
No, we planned it, and we actually moved it ahead. It's a long story. We bumped the day we were going to shoot it, and you know, that's not the last thing we shot. You know, I'm winter in Sudbury, but the night we're going to finally do it, we have the permits to shut the street down. Everything's in, all the ducks are in a row and everything. And then it just snowed.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Snow.
Like fluffy. Yeah.
But it sure looked good.
Yeah, it was great.
It looked amazing.
The other one that comes to mind with that was the barbecue scene.
The barbecue, it snowed that day too.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's real snow. So
it's real snow. You can't fake that. I've done fake snow. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Were you guys talking? Should we not shoot right now, or hell yeah, we shoot?
No. It's like let's shoot while it's going.
Okay, yeah.
I guess the only risk there is you run into continuity issues if it suddenly stops.
So you just shoot fast, right?
Yeah,
get it all in. It was supposed to snow all day, so it was not for a few hours. So it wasn't a huge, huge panic. But once we went outside, we concentrated on that, and then shot the inside. It was like, okay, let's shoot the outside now when it's snowing.
Yeah,
take advantage of the Mother Nature's gift.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of those things for flipping over to Letterkenny, being in the arena? We heard that there's noise a lot on the roof, and you have to, when it's raining or anything like that, do you have to stop everything and wait for it to be over then?
No, if it's raining, really hard, then I have to ADR the dialogue because you're going to hear it in the wide shot. But they can always fix the sound in post.
Oh, can you?
In post.
Well, ADR means they record the lines later.
Okay.
Yeah, they use the original shot as a guide track, and then when I say cut it, they'll go back in the sound booth and redo the lines.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's probably not preferable though. You don't want to be doing too much of that, do you?
No, you don't. But it happens. It happens. I remember shooting on What Would Sal Do, and we were shooting right across the street from the Montreal Bistro in Sudbury, where the rail yards were at night, and it's like all of a sudden, all night they were marshalling cars, trucks.
Oh
trains.
no!
And I was like, well, what do? You just throw the sound away and you just redo it in post.
Billy, when I was in college learning, I went for audiovisual communications, and I remember that trying to sync voice to recorded video was the hardest thing that we had to do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone who's got any half of an eye, you can see when that audio is out of sync. Even if it's only a fraction, there's something about it feels off, and you're like, that's just not jiving right. So it's
things are also different now, right? I mean, when I was doing it in the 90s, the transition from analog to digital was just starting to happen. So all the kind of old fogies at that time, they said, you're gonna have to learn analog, and you're gonna have to learn how to splice tape. You're gonna have to learn this, that, and the other. And so we had that kind of added advantage or disadvantage of kind of being able to be learning on both kind of modalities. But now I imagine it's easier.
It's all digital now.
Yeah, it's all, I remember working on or in college, working on a Foley soundstage, 100 track console with a big screen and the movies playing, and we're like watching it with like doing footsteps with our hands and all that, like all the fun sound effects and timing it out properly and stuff. Man, thank God it's digital now, because that took forever.
Yeah, totally.
But I always thought how cool it'd be to be a Foley artist.
It was fun. It was fun for sure. They gave our final project was 2 minutes of silent James Bond footage, and we had to fill in all of the audio. And holy crap, the things you don't think about, the firing guns inside, outside, a helicopter inside, outside, the dropping of the shells. It was a skiing scene, so there was like snow. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just unbelievable.
Most guns are done in post anyways, because real gunfire is too loud. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So let's use it as a cue and put in their own sound anyways.
Wow.
Question here from Trace, we were kind of talking about this before, but how much consideration has to be taken for the snow? Does it change how you light or shoot it? Does shooting in falling snow present any difficulties?
Shooting in snow is just got to be aware of lighting, because if you start throwing light around, then if you're front lighted, it's going to look like more than there is. And if you're back lighted, it's going to look like more than there is. So it's just like, you just deal with it more side lighty, more, I don't know. Snow on the ground is not a big deal. So you just get more bounce off the ground.
Yeah.
I've been on shows where you put a graduated in the bottom of the camera instead of the top. You just put it in the top to control the sky, put it in the bottom to take the snow down a little bit on a bright summer day. on a bright winter day. I mean, so, but not really, you know. You can't really go in with just a straight plan of what to do because especially with location, it changes.
Yeah.
By the time you look at it, just assume it's going to be the exact opposite when you actually film from location, right? That's always a good rule of thumb.
Just bring all your lighting.
If it's coldly dry sunny day, assume it's going to pour. If it's pouring, assume it's going to be sunny.
Right.
Be ready for anything.
Yeah.
Be ready for anything.
The glare off of snow too is like it's blinding. So that must be tricky in itself.
Well, you have a filter called a polarizer. It's like a polarized sunglass that when you would actually dial in how much reflection you want off the snow, or you actually adjust it to see through a front windshield of a car, or not see through it. If you want it white, or you want it black, or you want to see through it, you don't want to see through it. That's all done with a polarizer filter on the camera on the lens. So
I'm just
They
gonna
have the technology, Tim.
I just feel like you're a magician. I just
experience, just an old fart, you know.
Aaron asks, how much do scenes change from storyboarding to post-production? Any that stand out in terms of biggest changes? So you get the script or the storyboard, and then you get on location, and maybe some Kiso or Tyranny says, let's do something different. How often does that happen? And can you think of like maybe the most drastic example?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Well, because you can't come up with a better idea. I think that people go in that, if you go in with a prefixed notion of how you're supposed to do it, then it's not always the best notion. Sometimes you just see things and you go, well, no, let's do that over here, or let's do that over here. I think just to be flexible and go with what those two want, and then try and deliver them. You know, it's like I try and light sets to be ready to jump to 60 frames in a heartbeat, because I don't know if they're going to say to me, okay, fuck, you know what? Let's just do 60 frames here. So I don't want to have to relight the set. So I try to take that into consideration when I originally light the set. You know, just to be prepared for the inevitable change, because you don't want to be the one to say, no, you can't do that, or yeah, you can do that, but that's going to take me so much longer. Like there are times you go into a set where you have an idea and it just totally changes what you talked about. So you just have to be willing to go with the flow and change it up. You know?
Yeah, you can't be hard set on what you thought was going to happen.
No, you're going to jump up and down, have a tantrum. No, you're going to do it this way.
Hold your breath. No, Jared.
Exactly. That's not what we talked about. No, you got to be able to go with the flow. You have an idea, you be prepared for everything, but you just try and go with the flow, right?
Especially when you guys are shooting as tight a schedule as it seems like you do, and as quickly as you do, right? You kind of have to take what's given to you.
Yes, exactly. You got to work with what's given you to you.
All right, cool. Here's an interesting one. This isn't about Letterkenny or Shoresy, but basically our buddy Steven, he asks, in your opinion, what's the most visually beautiful, stunning, well-shot movie or TV show that you've seen? Like, I mean, I'm sure, doing what you do, you've probably seen a lot. So what would give us some good ones?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It depends what you're looking for. I mean, everyone has their own taste. My personal peeve is that shows like they show dark by just being no exposure at all. Like literally you're closing the curtains in your living room going, fuck it, I know there's some actor there out there somewhere.
Anything by DC, I believe is like that. Yeah,
right? You're going.
I know there's an actor in this scene. No, I generally it depends to me, lighting should be invisible. Like if you're noticing the lighting, unless it's a specific effect, then you're taking away from the acting. All you're trying to do as a cinematographer or as a gaffer, as for many years doing the lighting, is put the actors in a mood in a scene where the viewer believes that they're watching what they're watching. Like to me, when I operated for somebody, if I got a tear in my eye watching an emotional scene with an actor, I'd know it's a good performance, because if I believe them, then the viewer would believe them. Like invest in it. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't feel like, oh, they're doing this incredible scene, but it looks like a supermarket. Yeah. It's supposed to be in a bedroom. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
can you even enjoy TV shows or movies in that way?
I know worse to watch TV.
I was just gonna say, like, are you always just technically looking at it from your standpoint?
Does Carmel just say, "Shut the fuck up, Billy"? Come on.
Sometimes. She makes the British thing. So sometimes I'm like, "Oh, what are you watching? That looks terrible." It's a great story. It's okay, but it looks terrible.
Amazing. Let me ask it this way then. Is there, other than Tierney, because obviously he's the greatest director on the planet.
Yeah.
Is there a director whose work you appreciate above others?
I don't know. I mean, I was lucky enough to work with Delbert Mann, who shot a movie, won an Academy Award for Best Director in a movie called Marty in Ernest Borgnine in 1959, whatever. And he was just a gentleman. He just knew how to tell a story. To me, that he taught me a lot. Like, and then the DOP was, what shot Patches to India, nominated for an Oscar. Also operated Dr. Zhivago, Lawrence of Arabia, and
wow, yeah, those are okay.
Pretty serious dudes. When I was a young, buck. I was in like 30s, I guess, young 30s. So, I mean, I learned a lot from people like that. But you run across people who are really together. I'm lucky I ran across Tony Akizo at this point in my career, being an older filmmaker. Let's face it. To run across guys like that are actually filmmakers too, that into storytelling. It's like, oh, how refreshing is this?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, people that aren't full of themselves. Like, it's just like, there's no egos involved. Like, just make the best possible thing we can,
Yeah. Well, they certainly feel like real passion projects. Like, you watch Shoresy or Letterkenny, there's nothing out there that compares in terms of look and style and feel to those two. Like, they are truly unique.
Yeah.
Oh, we've lost Matt.
Mm-hmm.
He's frozen. Oh,
anyways, I was saying that's another
back.
reason people are so drawn to them is because they're
That's
so
great.
truly unique, right?
And that's true. Yeah. We try not to do what other people are doing, right? Lead, follower, and get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like, I mean, you're more pragmatic about your approach with shooting and stuff. So you don't get too precious with things. But another question that Steven asked, was there a shot that you wanted that maybe got nixed, or a specific shot that you're proud of? Can you talk about anything like that on Shoresy? We're specifically Shoresy.
Not really. I like the 360 Steadicam shot around the rink where the two girls go around and they go whole around the whole rink when the bums are getting in seats and go around the whole rink. That's a fun shot.
Okay.
Is that when they walk out and then they kind of turn around and take it all in?
Look around, but the camera goes all the way around and comes back around and ends up on them back again. Like, that was a fun shot to do.
Okay.
Lots of stuff is good. I really like the stuff for Laurence Leboeuf up out in front of the Subway Arena was fun. When you go around her face and back in on her. That was fun. The whole thing is a lot of fun, But we shoot stuff you never see.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's so. Is there one in particular maybe that you wished that made the cut? That
not really.
No.
I mean, just it's the choice. There may be takes you like better. Certain things, but I think that ultimately they make the right choice.
Yeah.
Another shoot. I mean, everything you shoot doesn't end up in the show.
Sure,
of course.
Another shot that I think we all universally love is the prison yard scene, and that's kind of bringing some Letterkenny practice there, because it's a very symmetrical scene. And from the last time you were on, you talked about how you guys love symmetry, but even just like the shift in focus so you can see through the fence and all that stuff. Like, it's very nice. It's a really well done shot.
Oh, thank you. It was so cold that morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We had to shovel out and put the dolly in the snow. You get across the fence, the piece of fence in, fence put it in, but it was.
Oh, so that fence wasn't there? You guys put that in?
We put a section of fence in.
Oh, okay. Because we were trying to figure out where we were like driving around Sudbury going, where's that prison? Where did they shoot the prison scene?
Oh man, I was
just north of the arena.
I thought so. I thought so.
I had a couple sections of fence.
You know what? When we were leaving the arena,
I called it.
Yeah, when we were leaving the arena, we're like, I wonder if that was the prison.
That looks like the prison.
Very good.
Yeah, that was the prison.
Our buddy Jeff, he says, Billy does a great job at making mundane things look beautiful and artsy, like random shots of the city that most people wouldn't think to look at twice. We can attest to that, because driving around Sudbury, it's surprising. Like, some of those scenes were like, wow, what? It's amazing that they thought that this would be a good place to shoot. How much of it is in your eye, like is actually there? How much of it is camera trickery? You kind of already talk about that.
I think a lot of the establishing shots, the in between shots, were actually shot by my operator, Monica Goodat.
Okay.
She just went out with a camera and they said, shoot this with our associate producer, Brendan Brady. And she just shot it. And she didn't get the credit as second unit DOP, but she should have, in my opinion. But she did a lot of those shots, and I think she did a fantastic job on them. Personally.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't. They wouldn't drag main unit out for that. Are you kidding?
Oh, is that the same for like the sleepover episode, Letterkenny? That's a second unit going out at night, taking those.
The sleepover with the nighttime shit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, that was me.
That's
you.
When
I was. Yeah, I just went off and did that because I was. That's what I did at the time. But
you were the second crew at the time. This was before you.
No, I was the A crew, but I would just disappear from main unit because it'd be like a location where they only need one camera. So I said, look, I'll just go find some stuff to shoot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I would just run off with the camera and kind of couple assistants and location guy and go,
Well, Jeff says, tell her she did an amazing job. Casey says props to her. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of love for those shots.
Yes.
Here's a question I really love. Billy Joey asks, he's listened to enough episodes by now. Who is his favorite host of the produce stand?
Oh, come on.
It's all right.
The future of a beer on my deck is in this answer. No.
I promise I'm gonna have a beer on your deck.
If he doesn't say Victor, he might run into an angry Victor at the gym.
Right.
Yeah. But you know what, Victor? I know you might be taller than Billy is. I don't know if you are or not. But Billy is one of the only people in all of Letterkenny cast who's actually been in a fight, because we have photographic evidence of that.
True.
Oh yeah, you're broken.
Saturday night.
No broken fingers this round on Shoresy, eh?
No teeth marks on my hands.
Oh man. We found. I mean, while we were there, and if people did notice us with our T-shirts or whatever, taking pictures and find out. Well, first they ask, "Are you with Letterkenny?" We're like, "No, we're not." But to a person, everyone was very appreciative of what Letterkenny and Shoresy have done for the city of Sudbury.
Yeah, well, they're really nice people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And we try and be really nice back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They are the salt of the earth people. Like I remember being, people waving me through to go into Tim Hortons, like in the morning to get my coffee. They're waving me in my car, and I'm like, fucking Toronto, they'd be giving me the finger.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
Doing, like cutting in here, and they're like waving you in. Come on, and they'll pay for your coffee. You got up to think, well, no, sir, the person in front of you pay for your coffee. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Serious? Yeah, it's just super nice people. All the cops know me, good and bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a good
thing? Got a reputation there
for the permits of shutting down the streets, right, Billy?
I'm never driving up the street, and if a cop tries to stop me from this truck turning, she goes, "Oh, it's you. Oh, go ahead." And I'm like, "What?"
You guys have the keys to the city now, eh?
Just about. It's funny how you treat people well, you get respect back, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
But it's true, like Al said, like it wasn't hard to find anyone who had some form of interaction with the production, and it was always positive.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, even our the lady that served us in the restaurant,
that was amazing.
She was on on one of the episodes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was an extra that did a bit of a stroking motion.
Oh yeah, season 11. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
No, not 11.
10.
Yeah, I think
9 or
10.
10. Yeah. With the Gaylor scene, with Gail's talking about Dickens, and she's in the background doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
She was quite embarrassed to tell us what scene she was in, and then we finally got it out of her, and it was a good laugh.
I lose track because that's someone who shot 2 seasons. Right, so sometimes I forget which episodes have aired.
Right, yeah. Don't slip, Billy. Don't slip. We're not we're not here to make you trip. Cause we know that season 11's coming out soon. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question from our buddy Scott Hebert. He asks, "Your eyes see the world in a way mine are not trained to." So poetic. What's a scene in popular cinema? Oh, this is kind of like Steven's question that you'd like to educate the TPS masses on. Maybe a shot that I don't understand how technically difficult it was. Yeah, I mean, again, back to like, well, you already kind of mentioned, a director that you looked up to or that you appreciated his work. Is there any movie or anything that you can think of as like that's one of my favorite looking films or TV shows?
I guess. I just know if I like something. I don't, off the top of my head, no, I don't really have one. I like the original Alien a lot. I like the original Blade Runner a lot. Mm-hmm. As far as TV shows, X-Files started good. It got a little murky by the end. I don't know. I just watch things in their own credit, on their own value. I know when I don't like something. Mm-hmm. you know, like a few minutes. It's like, oh, that's terrible. Like that's really badly lit. Like who they hired fucking like that one, you know?
Yeah. Do you find yourself actually turning things off that are so poorly done? Like you can't watch it.
Oh, sometimes I watch them like a slow moving train wreck. Like this can't possibly get any worse.
Here comes the spatula.
Really, this can't possibly get any worse. So I'm sticking to watch it. And it's like, okay, I have to watch it because of it. Now it's out of my system. Like I've seen the whole thing, and then, you know. But,
Okay,
yeah.
I have a there's a train wreck. So I have a question though. So can you watch, or do you enjoy watching old films like the black and whites, the old stuff? Do those bother you because the camera it doesn't compare to today's technology or advancements and stuff, or do you enjoy it for what it is?
I enjoy it for what it is. I think a lot of the skill has been lost over the years personally, because someone who started in the film medium era and then ended up in the digital media era. Mm-hmm. I think night used to be more like, I've done a day for night film. Like that's the old days how they did it, because the ISO on the old film stock was so slow that you had to shoot things day for night, or you just didn't get an exposure. You just couldn't possibly have enough light unless you're in a studio. So I've done movies like that, like day for night, and you don't see sky, and you have 2 stops under, and 7 old black and white. And I did it with color films like Kyle McLaughlin and Randy Quaid. But I think a lot of the old ways of showing night is really changed, and now it's just exposed things down, right? Because the latitude of digital cameras is like 7 stops or 9 stops, so it's like you can just take things right down to nothing. But I think that's kind of been lost a little bit for the old school filmmakers, you know.
What was that? I think, was it Bruce Willis? They did that black and white. Geez, was it like in the
Sin City? Sin City?
No, not Sin City. No? I'm thinking.
No, I remember.
Last Man Standing
episode of the show he did with Sybil Shepherd.
Oh, Moonlighting.
Moonlighting. There was a black and white episode of that.
Yeah, actually, I just watched that. So, Trevor Risk and I were having a back and forth on Twitter, and we were talking about Moonlighting, and that triggered me, and I had to go back and watch the original episodes. And
he's a cool guy, Bruce. By the way,
Bruce Willis. Yeah, it's kind of sad what's happened to him now, but
yes, it is.
Yeah. Anyway, Moonlighting is still a fun show, and I think it's in the pilot or the second episode or whatever, is a very young Tim Robbins. And it's kind of hilarious to see some of these actors in those early shows. But yeah, the black and white, was it Hudson Hawk or something like that? The black and white.
Maybe, yeah, that rings a bell.
Bruce Willis, I don't know.
Yeah, I know Hudson Hawk rings a bell for sure. But I remember him coming up to me on the shooting of Reds, and he's like, hey, quick, do you know any Russian? I'm like, yeah. And just walked away from him. He just looked at me, right? And he started laughing, right?
Yeah, he's great. I think Tobias says it's Last Man Standing.
Yeah, Last Man Standing. That's what I was thinking.
I
don't know why I remember it. It. Maybe the whole movie or part of it was in black and white. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. But anyway, brought back a memory.
Partial memory.
Super nice guy.
Okay.
It's like Michael J. Fox, super nice guy. You know,
that
was happening to him too. Like I knew him back when, you know, and it's like what's happening.
What did you work on with him?
I remember we were doing a show called Counterstrike with Chris Plummer way back when I was the gaffer on, and Chris Plummer was the lead, and we were shooting it in Yorkville, and we were having Toronto had the All-Star game baseball. Oh. So I remember we were shooting in Yorkville, and Michael J. Fox walks by, and he's half, you know, in the bag, and he says, hey, I always want to push the dolly. Can I push the dolly? So the dolly ripped, and I said, sure. Fuck, you know, let's push the dolly. So he turns his head around backwards and gets on the dolly. We just kind of shield him so the public doesn't see him.
Right.
He gets a dolly shot, and I keep kind of put my boot on the track, keep going right out the end of it. And a couple takes, and he's like, oh, it's fucking great. Like, that was so much fun. And people started to notice who he was. He was like, okay, thanks, guys. Like, I'm out of here. And then I worked with him years later on Designated Survivor.
Oh, okay.
Reminded him of that. And he was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, he was so small. Like, he was like a tiny guy.
Yeah.
I love Designated Survivor. I don't understand why that show didn't run longer.
It was fun to work on. I did a bunch of days on it, but...
All right. Well, I'm out of questions, but I want to know. Drop some names, Billy. Come on, like you've dropped Bruce Willis and Michael J. Fox, who are both like two of my favorites. Who else have you worked with that would be like exciting?
Who do I work with? Oh God.
And Christopher Plummer. I mean, that's
Chris
an
Plummer.
yeah.
Walter Matthau was
Wow.
Oh, I love him.
7 weeks with Walter Matthau and Harry Morgan and Stephanie Zimbalist on a movie called Incident in a Small Town. Back when Movie of the Weeks was 35 days shooting.
Wow.
CBS Movie of the Week. They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
You just run into people. You just know people who are famous. I don't know, Helen Mirren.
Mhm.
I've done a couple movies with Helen. Helen's a sweetheart, you know.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
Helen,
and then,
yeah.
and then you go back, like, I mean, probably people you wouldn't even realize at the time, but like Jeremy Renner from like Senior Trip.
Oh, I
and
know.
stuff like that.
Now he's a big star, right?
Right.
I know, it's pretty funny.
Is there anybody that you were surprised became a big star, like after maybe working with them early in their career? That not surprised in a bad way, but you know what I mean, like, or pleased. How about pleased that they became a big star?
I don't know.
No.
A few women who
Mhm.
became like, you know, fairly famous, you know, but I worked with them really young when they were young, you know. But I don't know really. I mean, it's another job on set. Acting is just another job on
Sure.
set.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't be, you know.
You can't
And
be-
if you become good at your craft, then you have a long career.
right.
If you don't become good at your craft, or you're hard to work with, you have a short career.
So
Yeah,
you must be the
yeah.
easiest person to work with because you've
I
got
try.
quite the resume. That's amazing.
Do you,
try.
do you have any fun stories to share with us about Shoresy while you were shooting?
I don't know.
without getting yourself in trouble.
I mean, the whole thing was a really nice experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have any specific stories. I mean, it's fun to go to work every day when you're into your job.
Mm.
Like, I how to describe that, but I don't do the same thing in any 2 days. Every day is different. So I mean, I'm the luckiest bastard in the world in that way because I get to go and do different things every day with
Mhm.
really talented people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one good thing because considering I'm a computer programmer by profession, you know, it's
Yeah.
like this
Well, that's
is like,
right. I forgot about that. Yeah. You-
fell into this business. I'm like, oh, you pay me this much money to do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, here's a great question to end on. Erin on the live stream, she asked, do you have any words of wisdom you can give for somebody who wants to get into the business?
Sure. Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. You know, like that's the best way because in any business, because you learn from the people who've done it a long time,
Mhm.
and you don't know everything. You don't have an opinion when you start out. You may think you have an opinion. You don't have an opinion.
Mhm.
And instead of asking silly questions, try and figure out what someone is doing, the reason someone is doing it, why they're doing it.
Mhm.
And then if you really can't figure it out by yourself, then ask them at the opportune time, not in the middle of mayhem. Oh, by the way, why you know?
Right.
It's like pick your spots. But I think that the young filmmakers, you spot them a mile away. Like you really do. The people just the posers, you know, are the time bandits, I call them, you know, and they'll be on the set and they'll just like ask you, they're not there to make film. They're there for the social life. They're there because they're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And it's like they're there for the status and the prestige, and they're really never going to go anywhere because there's a million of those people, you know, they come and go. I've seen them come and go.
So go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, but I was going to just ask you a nerdy question about the industry, and especially for those starting out. So there's these, I guess, two main, I don't know if they're called unions or associations, but you know, there's the National Association of Broadcast and Television, and then there's the other one, International Association for Stage and Theater. Right. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you know which one you're supposed to get associated with, and even with Shoresy and Letterkenny, like how's decided that, are you going to have crews from either this union or the other one? How does that all work?
Well, camera is always IATSE. It just period. IATSE 667, which is also known as the International Cinematographers Guild, I'm a member of. If you want to hire a camera crew, like I have 7 people on my crew for Shoresy, you can't hire someone who's not a member of IATSE 667.
Okay.
As far as crew members, I'm also a member of IATSE 873, which is film technicians, as an ex-gaffer. My son is also a member now. My wife's a member too of that. But I think if you want to make movies and television shows, you have to join IATSE. And if you want to work for the CBC, then you join the national, you know what, or QP or the National Association of Broadcasters. If you want to work in TV and film, it's really IATSE.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But do you make that decision, or do you just see where your career takes you? I guess that I'm just trying to, again, put my, you know, for those young folks out there just getting out of school, like, are you supposed to make a choice, or how does that work?
Well, if you're going to get work, you have to get permitted. So I would become permanent in IATSE. Say you want to be a props, a set dresser or a props person or a grip or electric or whatever. If you want to be a camera person, you get a permittee. You put an application, you get permittee, and then you have to do like 100 hours before you can become, and then you get voted by other members if you're viable to become a member.
Oh, wow.
So there's a whole process there.
Oh, there is a process there, absolutely. And I think people do go to film school are crazy. Like people go to like the Toronto Film Institute, whatever, to learn how to be a spark. They're nuts. They should go to work, just go to work, and they'll learn way quicker from pros and you would save yourself 20 grand.
Right. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Film school is just a bunch of watching
that's
movies.
Advice right there, Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save your 20
You don't want
grand.
to be a director, then don't go to if you're going to serious, go to university. But even then, it's like, if you want to be a director, go make films. Like, just do it.
Just start.
Just start doing it. I mean, you're not getting any younger. The time to do it is when you're young.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Matt, do you have any other questions?
No, not question. I mean, thanks, Billy, for coming out, man. Congratulations on Shoresy.
Thank you.
It really is superb. We always joked, and I think you listened to a few of our things back. We were all, I would say, skeptical but hopeful that it was going to be something really cool.
There was a lot of skeptics,
right? Yeah, I mean, like, how do you take a character like Shoresy, where you knew nothing about, it's just an asshole, and then make a whole show about it? So, and it pulled off. And I remember when we had you, and you were very excited about, what was coming, and you kept saying, we're going to make great television. You truly did. And I like I said, I binge watched the whole show about 4 times now, and I'm enjoying it more every time. There's little things I notice each time that I didn't catch before. And I know the announcement isn't official. You haven't said anything official. We're all just hoping and assuming it's coming.
Yeah.
But we can't wait. We can just keep doing what you guys fucking do, because we love it. There's a whole community that is behind you and just excited to see what you guys do next.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Victor, you have anything?
Yeah, same. I mean, Shoresy, I've learned to love Letterkenny because I was pulled into kind of this podcast and by these DJs and hey, come watch this show. And at first I wasn't sure what the hell I was watching. It's a fantastic show, and I'm certainly looking forward to the next season. But for me, Shoresy is my jam, and I hope that show goes on for 12 seasons. It's just absolutely incredible, and I'm loving it, and I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for the show.
Oh, thank you.
Dan?
Thank you.
Genuinely, just so amazing to speak with you tonight. Thank you so much for your time and coming out and sharing all of your just magic with us, because I'm going to call it that. It just, in my eyes, it's just, I don't know how you do what you do, but you do it great. You just truly are amazing, and thank you so much. Shoresy's been wonderful to watch, and I agree with what Matt and Victor are saying. Just can't wait to see more. Crossing our fingers that it's going to happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I agree, Billy. By the way, I said that was the last question, but there is a even more important question that just came up in the live stream. Do you use a bowl when you eat a stick? Are you team bowl or no bowl?
I'm a no bowl guy.
Attaboy.
I don't know why this is still a debate.
I know, right?
Like,
I don't
on.
understand.
It's a debate.
We're not children here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Anyway, I echo what all my fellow hosts are saying. Also, just so you know, I mean, you already know how awesome this community is, but you may not. What you may not know is that there's actually a group of American Shoresy fans planning a trip up to Sudbury
I heard that.
this December
for Shoresy night.
For Shoresy night. You don't understand how excited they are to come up to Sudbury. They're coming from all over the place, and they're meeting.
I know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're meeting in Toronto, and we're going to have dinner with them, hopefully drinks with them before they head up to Sudbury, and it's going to be an amazing time.
It's a good time to Sudbury Wolves game. I've been to a few.
Yeah. Somebody did ask, is there any possibility that you might be at that game?
I doubt it. I mean, I've been to games with all the cast from Shoresy. We used to go on Saturday nights, right? No, Friday nights, because we didn't. Was it Friday or? Yeah, because the Wolves play Friday night.
Yeah.
because we did, so we'd go on a Friday night. That's why our arena schedule had to be like Sunday to Thursday. Like we were there for like 3 weeks.
I can attest to that because we came there on a Friday and there was everybody, the streets were empty. We couldn't figure it out. The streets were empty. And then we walked by the arena. I swear to you, everybody in the city was at that arena.
Totally. They packed the place. Bums and seats, right?
Bums and seats. So
thank you so much, Billy. Do you have anything you want to say to the listeners before we
no, not really. I mean, all the community. Hi. You're all fantastic people. You really are. I got to know a lot of you through the Twitter. And my one social media, thing. Weakness. But everyone's great. I'm glad everyone's such a big fan of the show. And I'm honored that you really like my work. I'm just an old fart.
No, you're not. You're a good guy. You're a really good guy, Billy. We're gonna play us off here with a song that you picked from Shoresy. This one is called "Born to Be Live" by Patrick Hernandez.
Picturing Shoresy standing at the corner there, just panting.
Oh yeah.
Before the brawl.
And then he goes.
And that's all we have for this episode. Next week, we will be joined by Letterkenny Memes herself, Shelly. She's going to bring some memes, and we're going to play some yes, 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 no. That's always a fun time. Don't forget to give our sponsor, Diabolical Coffee, some love. They are at diabolicalcoffee.com. Right now, you can use a promo code ProduceStand for 20% off any purchase from their site. If you'd like to support the podcast, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or become a patron. There's a Patreon link on our site, Twitter profile at ProduceStandPod. They're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at ProduceStandPod. Thanks for joining us. Now we're going to go boogie on over to the after party. On behalf of Billy, Victor, Matt, Tanya, and myself, thank you for listening. Have a great week.